My first week of college was pretty interesting, and not in any of the ways you might expect. I started my college career at City College and had no idea what I wanted to study. So, my plan was to take general ed courses for my first year and figure stuff out as I went. One of these gen ed classes was English 1A. English 1A had long been filled up with students before I got there, but the college counselor told me that I could sit in on the class, and as people dropped it, added in a few weeks. So, I squeezed with around 100 people into a room designed to hold 40 and leaned against a wall or sat on the floor. I was not prepared for what I was about to experience.
Hey, where's the prof? He's late.
And suddenly, he was there. I am Professor. I should mention at this point that Professor was constantly late. And he was hard to understand when he spoke. He also had a funny eye, and it was very difficult to tell where he was looking at any given time. Each eye pointed slightly to the outsides of his head. What was weird, though, is that they both moved. If he looked, for example, to his left, the other eye would follow, but would face closer to forward. So you could never really tell if he was looking forward or to the side at any given time. He had even more, interesting qualities as well. I will be a professor for English 1A. Who here already has the book?
Professor, I don't think hardly any of us have the book yet. Over half of us are still trying to add the class, and the bookstore ran out of copies of it, so it's kind of hard to...
Go to page 5, chapter 1.
The dangling mortifier. The dangling mortifier is a phrase or clause that is not clearly and logically related to the word or words it modifies. Two notes about dangling mortifiers. Was this guy for real? I thought I was in English 1A, but I didn't think this guy was even speaking English. I only understood about every 10th word or so, and by the puzzled looks on all the faces around me, I was not alone. A few people got up right then and there and walked out of the room. He continued incoherently babbling for the next 25 minutes and walked out. We all took this to mean that class had ended for the day. The next day was more of the same. Incoherent babbling, followed by random, angry outbursts. You cannot vote to be the guy there. He had assigned homework the day before, on the first day of class, and none of us even had a book. Everyone got out your homework. Pass it to your left. No one, not one person has done their homework. He somberly walked to the center of the room and began to preach. I am your professor. I cannot be your policeman. I am your professor. I refuse to be your policeman. I will not and will not be your policeman. Everyone in the room was thinking the same thing. Some guy up front finally said it.
A Polish man?
Go to page 7! As you can imagine, by the third day, the class had thinned out quite a bit. I was actually able to get a desk now, but was beginning to have second thoughts about even adding the class, considering I was looking at having this guy for a teacher for an entire semester. By this point, most everyone in the room completely disregarded Professor. They were either asleep, glazed over, or talking quietly with one another. I was one of the ones talking with the people around me. Suddenly, the chatter died down. Noticing this, I looked around the room to see why. Do you ask him your count? He was looking at some girl up front. Do you ask him your count? The girl just looked at him. Do you ask him your count? What is he asking her, I thought to myself. And why is she just sitting there looking at him? Do you ask him your count? Is she going to answer? Maybe she doesn't understand him. Do you ask him your count? As I sat there wondering why the girl he was talking to didn't answer the question, it occurred to me that some people were looking at me. Oh no! Right as I began to understand what was happening, he slapped a hand over one eye to reveal that he was looking directly at me. You! I'm looking at you! I couldn't contain myself.
classroom!
Still laughing, I ran for the door and never came back. I never did take English 1A, and I heard that his class continued to be one of the strangest and most hilarious experiences of the college. It certainly was for me. Till next time, peeps. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed yourself, please subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to hit that like button. Looking forward to sharing more with you soon. Thanks again.